thou must include a Europe boyfriend. Such were the speech of my rusky flatmate as she spurred me to try Wick. I was 35, fair out of a relation, in Vienna on an art residence, and really unwilling. I felt I stood no opportunity at loving or though meet nobody worth advantage. I didn't say any Deutsche and was concerned how men I order swiped would be at my doorway looking for sex. But reactive lagged, and in anything to do, I established the application. Quickly I found it was not just a large way to encounter original inhabitants, but as well, the reality how I was tan in a mainly whites nation intended my dateability was really top. Above the following few weeks, I walked out of museums, in cafes, and was ever requested if I'd love to go to the Hindu Keep. Down there was pie and vine, art and tease, and lot of laugh laced in severe adulation. Following my 3 months in Vienna, I came behind in a completely massaged ego and solved to try Wick in India. If it was Delhi or Mumbai, it was all the identical. I didn't recent a date. Accidental men I had not match in were conclusion me on Facebook. I was no much longer an exotics unknown. The flash fall in dateability led me to hold a public experimental. I guessed human beings to email me their Wick date stories, that I hoped to rotate in illustrations. I ambitiously named it number 100 Indian Tinder Tales but wasn't encouraging. Why would human beings outdoor up to a full unknown? But I went front, put out the urge, messaged friends on Facebook and fired up Wick on my telephone. Expressive myself all misogynist would be rotated in artwork. My at first position was fair how. A man I had match in outdoor in, Spetter or Martin. While I told Spetter, he said me Wick wasn't a location to reply such a questions except I requested to be marked a spineless female. I rapidly swiped leftward and rotated how in the figure. Ultimately Indians both of in India and about the planet began dividing their stories in me. These show how on the internet date was not as easy as he's done to appear. Down there were city female in my age team who were fighting in ego of concern and embarrassment. Their trouble ranked of which will my friends and household believe to am I creature dissolute and yet I am dissolved, which on my kid. Later down there were the junior human beings who swiped while they were miserable and breezed via the expertise. For several, these relationships would never rotate in actual lifetime interactions or, still, they were really essential. Time for other it was a way of insight relationships up ascending to organized marriages. And for several other, Wick was for momentary encounters. But the overall filament I saw was how for all of them, their phones had be individual, judgment-free spaces wherever they could searching for amusement, approval or, largest importantly, connect. A youthful lady of Kolkata, before Calcutta, share the history of a man she met following creature discarded several times since of her altitude. I solved to propose him sex so he wouldn't deny me. But amazingly he told he requested to aware me superior at first. We planned to go on a day and found out how we had a lot in overall and he had no issue in my altitude. That is a really big transactions for me. We include been date for 4 persons months now and I include never been happier in my lifetime. A gay man who queried anonymous talked on how Wick helping him discover loving. Apparently we couldn't say I loving thou in the business of some human beings so we came up in a coding wherever we would explosion the spreadsheet or any shallow to the beats of we will fate you and it became an essential audio for us. Sexiness can be cunning, taking into account how it is affecting by so lot factors that are later strengthened and repeated by famous print. In India, wherever Bollywood is a main impact, female are yet frequently depicted as sex objects in null agent. Indians are yet really reticent on sex so it was really heartening to see several female discovery up and dividing deep private experiences. Love the one, it is the coldest item I've always made, to conduct and strongly sex face in and total unknown of whom my cardiac wants anything. It as well makes me sense live. We encounter and include a impressive overnight out of an ounce of sleeping. I get a cab in the previous several hours of the night and as I trip behind, down there's a smiling on my person, a shine in my flesh and an total lack of fault. Other confronted public taboos love possessing sex for their periods by dividing conversations among friends up a weekday, profi and, fair put a black cloth on the cot. Go for it, baby. Above the history 2-year, I include desired private stories for different projects about date and sexiness, and I yet listen stories of full strangers on Wick dates. Though the needing to meet the soulmate is a continuous history, I as well listen of female reflecting the wish to encounter new men not fair for the opportunity of loving but as well to find themselves. Number 100 Indian Tinder tales ultimately developed in a draft wherever female talked on sex agent. They debated amongst lotsome things, the priority for core sex above loving making, which it intended to be sexually liquid, sexting, natural misuse, additional marital sphere, homosexual and fat stigmatization. They created a area for other to tilt in and begun a little, secure society. They approved themselves as sex beings who were take monitoring of their bodies and their minds. Their readiness to stake their stories, out of embarrassment or confusion, created a society of human beings. Proverb, me too much. Several of the illustrations of number 100 Indian Tinder tales are on screen at the Kunsthalle Museum in Germany as portion of an trade show named Which is Loving? The trade show is on until January 27, 2019.